Spider-Man 2, the third Insomniac Spider-Man game is out, so today I'm going to rank them all from the least best to the best. Consider subscribing for more movie and video game content and leave your own list down below. So with that said, let's begin. In last place is Miles Morales. Now I don't think any of these games are bad at all. This is a very good game, but something had to come in at last place, and I think most would agree it has to be this one. Being a Miles Morales story, it does feel unique, as his story is much more different than that of Peter's, which can make it stand out quite a lot. The plot is definitely really good, not too memorable, but still very good. And the open world visuals are obviously fantastic, but the main issue is that it just feels like the first Spider-Man game, just not as fresh. It has the same open world, just with snow, way less bosses, way less suits, and way less missions, so sometimes it just feels like it should have been a DLC. On that note, this game didn't even get any DLCs or suit updates. The main villain was also nowhere near as compelling as the villains in the other games. But I think it's still great, it's just the obvious last place. Then we have Spider-Man, such a special game for me that for so many years, and even to this day, is one of my favorite video games of all time. It was easily the best superhero game when it was released, and it's still so fun to go back to. I mean, this game does everything well, the open world, the combat, the swinging, and the story. Everything is amazing. Speaking of the story, this is such a good Spider-Man story with so many great moments. The villains here are definitely some of the standouts, like Martin Lee and Doc Ock, who are really compelling characters, and it's also great seeing a more mature and experienced Peter Parker. This version of Spider-Man is one of the best portrayals of the character I've seen, and it all started here. Maybe there were a few missions here and there that were a bit filler, like some MJ stealth missions, but I can hardly fault this game, I just think the sequel does it better. So then obviously in first place is Spider-Man 2, but honestly the first and second game could have been tied, they are both so good. But I feel like this game just builds upon the really strong foundation laid in the first game, and just creates something special. And what I really love about it is it's a sequel to both Spider-Man 1 as well as Miles Morales, so it continues both of those character stories in the best way possible. Speaking of the character stories, this game is such a good example of how to tell an exciting and compelling Spider-Man story. It especially portrays the symbiote storyline very well, which is something the movies didn't really nail. Then again, just like the first game, the villains are great, Kraven and Venom obviously being such menacing characters that are adapted so well. Then looking at the gameplay features, everything is improved upon, the open world is expanded, and with the introduction of the wingsuit it is so fun to explore. The side quests are great too, as well as the new suit customization. On the topic of suits, there are some really good ones. Now the one criticism I would have to give it is that the main story feels a bit short, definitely much shorter than the first game, but at least that means less filler. It's also definitely not as refined as the first game. Features like daytime changing and New Game Plus are still missing, but I'm sure those will come in later updates. It has so many other fantastic features that make up for it. This game is amazing. It's one of the best I've ever played, so it comes in at first place.